Hello, everybody, and welcome to this incredible event. This is the first in the world, the very first virtual awards ceremony to honor the certified handwriting specialist teachers around the world. My name is Melanie Harwood, and I would like to welcome you and introduce you all to Clare Ford, who is an incredible teacher and an expert in learning, education, literacy, and more. I'm going to hand over to Claire, who's going to tell us about her own personal journey with handwriting and what it has made possible in her life.
Thank you so much, Melanie, and thank you for having me here in this prestigious and very exciting ceremony. You know, it's wonderful to be part of a like-minded community of people celebrating success in this way. So thank you so much. So my name is Claire. I'm an expert educator, and I'm also a well-being practitioner. And I've been teaching for many years. And one of the things that I realized is that handwriting can cause lots of tears and tantrums, but when it's done well, it can actually allow the writer to actually forget about the mechanics of writing and, of course, to be able to flow and get their ideas down on paper. Now, handwriting has caused a loss of confidence in many of the children that I've seen at school. You know, I mean, when parents pick up a piece of paper and they say, you know, I can't read my child's writing, that child feels terrible, because nevertheless, whatever marks they've made on that paper, it still come from inside of them, right? It's still an expression of our soul that we're getting out. So actually, to be able to write fluently and legibly opens up the possibility of communicating, of course, with other people. And what has that done for me personally? Well, I am a big believer that literacy is the opening to communication, to creativity, and to connection with people, right? Whether that's the spoken word, whether that's the written word. And what that has done for me has enabled me to write and publish, you know, several of my own books, two as an author and two other ones as a co-author. And I've also enabled other children to become published authors as well, because of giving them the confidence to step into their creativity and write their own stories.
Claire, I wanted to ask you, do you feel that by putting more of an emphasis on finding these, or training up as we have here, these handwriting specialist teachers, these teachers that can now do a handwriting match fit assessment? It is not a test. So please, if you're listening or watching this, the handwriting match fit assessment is not a test. It is merely an assessment toolkit that these teachers are now highly trained, highly skilled to look at and go, aha, that jumps out at me. That's a potential barrier to learning to write well. I know what that is, and I'm going to negate that. Now that we have this, and we are going to be delivering this handwriting specialist training to teachers and tutors throughout the world in many languages, after today, today's the 19th of January, this is the very first virtual awards ceremony honoring these special teachers. They are the first in the world. Do you feel that once we have this integrated into schools, into tutoring centers, maybe even parents would like to learn this skill? Do you think that this is going to help us? Because before, we've never been able, we've looked and we thought, I'm sure something's wrong here. I don't understand why, but not everybody was a handwriting specialist. So I know that the schools give me a book, I look at it and I go, this child has got dyspraxia, they're on the DCD spectrum, we're going to do these exercises, we're going to work on spatial awareness. Now that these teachers are going to have that skill to be able to look at something, do you think it will start changing how literacy leads and literacy teachers and English teachers or language teachers are going to be looking at handwriting and thinking, let's negate this? What are your thoughts on this?
I think, yes, it will have a massive impact. And I think even more so because there's an argument that's actually moving away from handwriting. And so it's almost becoming an art form. It's becoming something that's lost. And if you think back to ancient societies, right, it was only the very, very educated people who could write. And you'd have the monks with their scrolls and copying out the Bible and all of this. It was a very sort of top level society activity. And I feel in a way that with the social media and with all the computerized systems that we have at the moment, we're losing this as an art form. We're losing writing as an art form. And I think that that's a shame, because I think there's something to be gained from taking the process of mark making and creating shapes that actually translate into words, that actually translate into an emotive message that you're delivering, which is something slightly different than just dropping a voice note or dropping a text or dropping a few emojis, right? If you actually write it down, it has a different resonance, it has a different frequency, right? And actually, that's the thing. What you're doing by writing is you're manifesting into a 3D reality, into something you can touch and feel and hold, something that came from your heart and your mind and your soul. And that's different to just saying it in words. It takes it to a different dimension. It takes it to a different level. It solidifies things. And I think that if people write well, it can help with spelling. It can help with confidence, right? Because people are, what I've noticed with some children is they only write down words that they know how to spell. Whereas in their head, they've got a lot more vocabulary there that's unlocked, that's not been unlocked. And so actually, by giving them the confidence with writing, and they know, oh, this piece of work looks nice, this piece of work is legible, somebody's reading it and they're reacting, they're smiling or they're crying because of what I've written, you know, that's very empowering.
You can hear from my accent, I was originally raised in South Africa. And I'm very mindful of us moving into a society where we have education apartheid, where only the wealthy and a small percentage of our society will be taught the skills to write, and the rest will be have just digital skills, will be reading. Now we know that what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it do you write and then do you read, or do you read and then do you write? We need to be able to have that literacy skill. It's a mechanical skill, and it's like riding a bicycle or learning to drive a car. Once you can do it, you know it, you master it, and all of those creative juices can flow down and you can be a deeper cognitive thinker. I was watching the political debates in America the last few months, and I noticed that it didn't matter whether you were to the left or whether you were to the right. It didn't matter if they were Democrats or Republicans. The individuals that were placed there sat side by side with a notepad and 2 pens. There were no iPads in sight. There were no mobile phones. There were no laptops. They were writing. And I realized that to truly lead a nation, to lead a region, a country, a county, or wherever you are, to lead a business, you must have that skill of being able to write so that you can get your ideas down in your meetings, make notes. All of the top developers that I know all have a notebook. They write it down. So these are digital specialists, and they're all saying to me, I can never lose this. You know, if I do it digitally, I don't know where it is tomorrow. It might just disappear in the cloud, in the ether, but by being able to write this. So we think we negate the skill of learning to write and handwriting at our peril as a society. And we've seen during our lockdown that that so many schools have come back and said, we want to learn how to assess handwriting. this is going to be a massive lost learning exercise. We need to know what these children have missed out on and how we can negate this, because teachers and head teachers are saying we know the importance of teaching our children to write. They cannot be functionally illiterate when they leave us. Claire, before we go, do you think that if you were not able to write, would you be where you are today?
Absolutely not. In fact, I can't imagine a life not writing or reading. And in fact, something that that this has brought home to me is, you know, sadly, my partner's mother is just, she's just got onset dementia. And what's really sad and strange is that she's actually forgotten how to write, and she's forgotten how to read. Her brain no longer recognizes numbers or letters. She can no longer write a birthday card to her grandchildren. Like, I can't imagine that. I said to John, you know, whatever happens to me in my old age, if I can't read and I can't write, I just don't know what I would do. I cannot imagine life without those skills.
Thank you so very much, Claire. We are going to be putting all of the information about each of our speakers below their talks, and we will give you information. You'll see Claire's biography below this talk. There'll be links to Claire's business and everything that she's doing that is so fascinating and empowering, how she's using writing and now teaching creative writing to children in schools and in homes throughout the world. Thank you so very much. And to all of you that are listening and taking part in this virtual awards ceremony today, and maybe you're listening to this after this is finished and you're on the podcast or you're somewhere in the world and it's got to you after the fact, this is all about empowering children, their families, their societies. A literate society is a confident and powerful society that leads. And we are here, we are sharing this with all of you. It is my gift to all schools throughout the world, is the handwriting specialist teacher training. Thank you very much. I'll see you all on the other side. Bye-bye.
Bye.